Hey everyone, welcome to Jason Explains Things. Well, it's that time of year again. There's a chill in the air. Pumpkin spice lattes are back. The leaves are starting to change. Spooky horror movies are being binge watched. No, I said horror, not horrible.
Toby, that giant ant's gonna kill that nice lady! Shoot the antenna!
And I'm doing fall lawn care videos. Again! This year I'm going to be splitting it into two parts. In part one, we're going to be improving and addressing all of the plants, trees, bushes, and flower beds here in my backyard. In part two, we'll cover everything about grass, the challenges I faced this year with the lawn, and steps everyone should take to keep their grass green and healthy. Let's get started with taking a look at my existing garden beds. I am over here now. My existing beds, they leave a lot to be desired. I've kind of let them go over the summer, and so we're gonna clean them up, we're gonna make them all look beautiful, but let's start with edging. So the most basic way to establish a new edge is to use a shovel. Rounded ones, like this one, are awesome for round borders, like this one.
Take your time cutting into the turf 3 or 4 inches, taking small half steps in between. I then come back and remove the excess material. If I keep up on my weed eating, it'll stay looking this nice for a long time.
Well, our edging around the trees looks much, much better. We'll get back to them in a little while when we add bark to everything back here. But let's turn our attention to this straight edge, which is looking not straight. You got 2 options. You got more than 2 options. Frankly, there are infinite options. But 2 tools that work really well for edging straight lines is this manual edger right here. And then also, this is a little harder to get into the ground, but you can also just use a flat shovel too.
I cleaned up this garden bed with the edging tool, then hit it and a few other beds with my DeWalt string trimmer. My established edges were looking as good as new.
Awesome. Well, these beds have not looked this good, at least since the beginning of the spring. Not perfect, but I would call it YouTube perfect. Is that a thing? I don't know, it is. But we are not done. That is the basics of edging, especially if you're just cleaning stuff up. But we are not done edging yet. We're going to go over here and establish an entire new flower bed. Wish my lower back some luck. It's gonna be fun. Well, it's a beautiful new day. The sun is up. Last night I did some weeding, other things off camera that I thought would not be that interesting to you. But here we are at the big enchilada. So we are going to be establishing a garden bed from scratch today. Now, I could do all this like I did that other straight edging with that manual edger, but that would literally take forever. So instead, we're gonna be using this guy. This is a Honda-powered Mantis tiller with an edging accessory. This is a really versatile little machine. You're gonna see it again in part 2 with the dethatching accessory. I love this machine. This will definitely make the edging process easier, but it's still gonna be a lot of manual labor to actually clear out a lot of this kind of less than awesome grass. So anyway, let's get started.
I wanted to make sure that my edge was perfectly even from one side to the next. So I measured off the fence and used some scrap metal and stakes to make myself a straight edge. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can chalk a line, you could use stakes and string, or just eyeball it. But making sure that it's straight makes your work look a cut above.
All right, cool. That went really, really well. I'm very happy with how straight the line is. Here comes the bad part. Well, everybody, I'm done. I'm just kidding.
Long story short, it took the rest of the day to clear out the grass and weeds. I sent out a call for help, and my dad showed up with his dump trailer.
Yay!
He also suggested using a large hoe to remove grass instead of the shovels, and it was way faster. Teamwork made the dream work. My hands were covered in blisters, but the new garden bed was ready for new plants.
See ya. Bye, sod. Okay, now that looks great. It's gonna be easier to control weeds, and it's also gonna be easier to mow around, but also, you know, probably need some plants back there now, right? Well, here are 4 of the 8 bushes we're gonna be planting. So these are English laurels. They are an evergreen bush. They do really well in direct sunlight, which is a good reason why I chose them. Also, I already have 2 in my yard right now. Here is a full 8-foot tall English laurel. I also have that 6-foot tall one over there. So I already know that these bushes are gonna do really well in my backyard. All right, let's go get these suckers in the ground. I'm gonna go over all the steps you're gonna need to know to plant your own bushes. Also, if you're interested in trees, I have a video that I produced earlier this year about planting trees, these three, the shade trees in my yard. So watch that too if you need more info on larger plants.
The best time of year for planting shrubs and trees is the fall or the spring, so now is a great time. I took a little extra time to spread the bushes out evenly and such. When planting, dig your hole double the size of the pot it came in. Use a utility knife and cut the root ball on the bottom and sides so the roots will jet out and establish quickly. Now usually you only want to use the soil that's there to fill it back in, but this soil is kind of bad in parts, so I'm mixing in some organic garden soil.
Eight bushes,
This is jumping ahead a little bit, but you're going to want to create a mound around each bush with bark so it can hold in water. The last thing to do is water each plant deeply.
Well, the sun sets on another day of me working on my backyard. It's really important to deeply water every single plant because it helps with the shock of being put in new soil.
We'll get back to the garden beds in just a second, but before that, let's finish cleaning up the landscaping by trimming these bushes and other plants back here. For most smaller jobs, good old-fashioned hedge shears work great. But I love these battery-operated shears from DeWalt. One battery is all I need to do hours of work, and it takes very little time to get this done. Oh man, check out these poor bushes. Sadly, these got scorched by the sun back in July when it was 113 degrees outside. We watered heavily and also misted them in the evenings to help keep them alive. Thankfully, they survived, so now we just need to trim off the dead stuff. For cleaning up smaller plants, just use some handheld garden shears.
Well, fall just showed up on me. I'm starting to get rained on a little bit, but we still have one more big thing to tackle as far as trimming is concerned, and that is that big hedge in the back. For that, I love to use this DeWalt tool. It is a pole saw that is also a hedge trimmer. You also get a chainsaw attachment. This thing is awesome. It runs on 20-volt batteries. I have the Flex Volt 60-volt, 20-volt, so that works great. You got this extension arm. You can use it with this length, or you can use it much longer than that. It also has this ability to pivot like that for getting things. Okay, let's break out some GoPros and tackle that hedge. Well, I fully intended to trim the top there, but I wasn't able to because I don't have a spotter, someone to kind of hang out and tell me to go up, down, left, right, that kind of thing. I can reach, but I can't see. So anyway, we got a lot more to do, so let's move on.
Hey, do you guys like life hacks?
Life hack, use a snow shovel to clean up yard waste.
Snow shovel life hack.
Yeah. Life hack! The weather is not cooperating with me incredibly well for my video shoot, but we're just gonna keep going, gosh darn it. I got rid of all of the yard waste, and now we have 2 full yards of bark we're about to spread. But before we do that, another important topic, which is fertilizer spikes. I started using these fertilizer spikes from Job a year ago, and they made a noticeable difference. I can vouch for these, they work very well. The amount of spikes that you use per plant depends on the diameter of the trunk of each plant, and where you exactly put these in and how you do it is really, really easy. I'll cover that while I put them in.
Use the included plastic cap, a hammer, and drive each spike into the ground around the drip line. To make this a little easier, first make a hole with the hammer, then drive in the spike with your cap, and keep hammering until it's 2 inches below the surface. This is a teaser for the next video, but the organic fertilizer I use on the grass also works great on trees and shrubs. It's from Lawnbox, awesome stuff. Look for more about that in the next video.
Hey, we are in the home stretch now. Boom. Okay, last step for our flower bed, shrub, tree, overhaul of the backyard is we're gonna be spreading 2 cubic yards of bark I got at a local nursery. I love buying bark by the yard at a nursery, by the way, if you can. I understand if you have a car with a trunk, you don't wanna go get bark this way, but it is, I don't even know how much cheaper it is. Usually it's like 2 cubic feet per bag at Lowe's or something like that, which is, you know, $5. I don't know, you do math. Tell me how much that would be in the difference. It's probably pretty big. Okay, and for the back new flower bed area that we are establishing from scratch, I'm going to be using some commercial grade landscaping fabric and with those contractor staple things to keep it in place so we can keep that back area from getting weeds as much as it used to. Okay, let's break out the lawn tractor and get this done.
For areas that had mulch already, I added a thin top layer. For new beds or thin spots, add a good 2 or 3 inches for best results.
Wow guys, that was a lot of work, but the results speak for themselves. I could not be happier with the flower beds, the edging, the new plants, all that stuff. I'm kind of weird and finding this all very fun, at least for a while, until it wasn't fun anymore. And I'm actually very thankful to the big guy upstairs. I didn't throw my back out because I was a little nervous about that, moving all that sod around especially. But guys, please subscribe and turn on notifications because part 2 of my fall lawn project is coming up very soon. It's gonna cover everything about the lawn. I'm gonna get really real with you guys, tell you some challenges I faced with the grass this year, keeping it not brown over the extreme heat of the summer, and also dealing with lots and lots of weeds. But also the video is gonna cover just the basics about how to keep your grass green, healthy, and ready for winter. So everyone, until next time, God bless, and don't forget to do it yourself. All right, bye. Family, are you impressed with my work? You are?
You got a new phone?
I did get a new phone. High five. Oh, I mean, high five. There you go. Are you impressed with my work too?
So impressed.
Oh! Wow!